Hello and welcome to the business interview. I'm Marcus Carlson. It's not a secret to anyone that the French and Eurozone economies are sputtering. And today I'm at a forum in central Paris that is meant to inspire confidence and kickstart growth in the French economy. Now, this forum is called Osons la France, which roughly translates into Dare France. It's meant to inspire investors to dare to bet on the French economy. I'm here with one of the participants. Rodolfo De Benedetti is an Italian entrepreneur, and he's the chairman of Compagnie Industriale Riunite, or CIR for short. The group has its fingers in many pies. That includes energy, healthcare, car components, as well as media. Some of its titles include the newspaper La Repubblica, as well as the magazine L'Espresso. Rodolfo De Benedetti, thank you for speaking to France24 and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, you're here to participate in a panel discussion on the French economy as seen from abroad. What would you, as an Italian entrepreneur, say about the state of the French economy at this stage?
I think, first of all, it's difficult for an Italian to believe that we have successful recipes to suggest to a country like France. I think there are some similarities between Italy and France, and today, unfortunately, one has to say that those are probably the two economies which have the biggest challenges in Europe. There is a problem of very slow growth, which is an old problem, which is not just the last few years, which I think is due to some structural reasons. And there are also some differences. But if we take the common points, I think labor market rigidity is certainly one of the issues, which is particularly true, I think, in France as well as in Italy.
Both France and Italy, that they have been billed as the sick men of Europe.
Yes.
Do you think that characterization is fair?
Yeah, I think it's fair. Unfortunately, it's fair. I think we need to change that. We need to act decisively. We have a new government in Italy since 10 months, which is trying to change things. I think it's a bit too early to make a judgment, and one has to wish them, to be successful. I think, France is in a difficult situation too. Unemployment is high, and growth has been insufficient. And so I think that here too there is a discussion about reforming the labor market and making it more flexible. We heard here at the forum today the German experience and how Germany has been pretty successful in the 90s to really change that approach, and has seen results in terms of growth.
Are you investing in France at the moment? Or are you interested in investing?
We have in one of our business an automotive component company, Sogefi, that we own. We have a significant presence here. We have more than 2,000 employees in France. We do about 20% of our turnover here. So it's an important country for us. I think, what we see in that business is that our customers, the car makers, tend to delocalize part of their productions, and we have to follow the market. We have to follow demand, and so we are doing that as well. But we are keeping our presence here. Most of our R&D is here. This is a country that has a lot of skills in terms of innovation and in terms of R&D. And I think its challenge is to take those innovations and industrialize them here, as opposed to making those industrial investments outside of France.
You spoke about the need for labor market reform. Now, one of the reforms that the French government is pushing is known as the Responsibility Pact. The French government is promising to lower payroll charges and other charges for French businesses by 40 billion euros over the next few years in return for them hiring more. Do you think that's something that will work? Will that attract business in France and also from abroad?
I think, for a company that is looking at how and where to locate an investment, there is a broader approach than just the cost of labor. I think you generally look at the overall cost of doing business, and that is the sum of many criteria. Certainly labor cost is an issue, but I could think of other issues which are important.
What are they?
Taxation,
what are those issues?
For example. This country, has a fairly high tax rate both on individuals as well as on corporations, and this is clearly not very appealing for foreign direct investment. There is the infrastructure, and from that standpoint, I think France is pretty well equipped, certainly better than Italy.
I was going to say that surely must be a strong point for France.
Absolutely,
infrastructure.
Absolutely, there is the legal system and the ability to obtain authorizations and to the quick timing of setting up a business. But I heard this morning somebody was talking about his experience about setting up a plant, and he said that they recently did an investment in Korea where in 3 months they obtained all the permits to build up that plant, and that the same plant would have taken 18 months in France to get all the approvals needed. Now, this person was saying, 18 months is ages. The market is probably not there anymore, and we cannot wait 18 months. And so those kind of issues, I think, are at least as important as a high cost of labor or rigid job market.
I want to speak about your home market, Italy, for a moment. Of course, the Prime Minister Matteo Renzi, he is trying to reform the labour market. He is making strides to improve the Italian economy. What do you make of those efforts so far, and what do you make of them looking ahead?
I'm hopeful that this government will be able to introduce in our system some of those important structural reforms that the country had been talking about for the last 20 years and never did. I think the decision by the Prime Minister to tackle the labor market reform is a courageous one, because, as you know, it is not very popular, and it is a difficult subject, particularly from a left-wing type of party.
Seeing that difficulty, do you think that he will ultimately be successful?
Well, the reform was passed yesterday through Parliament, so it's a law now. It needs to have decrease to make it operating. But I think it's a step forward. I think it's not enough. I think those things, structural reforms are important, but they take a lot of time before seeing the effect. The real stimulus that the government could put into the economy, and which is lacking today, is fiscal policy. And clearly you cannot use fiscal policy by running or increasing public deficits, and so you need to act decisively on reducing the cost of government to be able to use that flexibility to reduce taxes.
Now, I mentioned it in the introduction to this interview. CIR is present in many different sectors, car parts, etc. What part of your business is doing well at this moment, and what's doing less well?
Probably the business which is doing better right now is our healthcare business. We have developed the largest player in the long-term care market in Italy. We manage about 6,500 beds in about 70 structures, and that is a business which is really capitalizing on the aging of the population and the growth in demand for those type of services. And Italy, doesn't have sufficient supply in terms of both quantity and quality, and we've been consolidating that business, and that business is actually doing pretty well. Our media business is going through a challenging period because of the downturn in the economy, which has driven a downturn in the advertising investments. And as you know, media is going through a structural revolution because of the internet and because of new media and digital products, and so that is certainly a business which is tough. But I think we've managed quite successfully to restructure that business and to position it as a digital play.
Now, seeing that experience in these different sectors, are you then seeing any signs that the Eurozone could actually see growth again looking ahead? When will we see growth again in the Eurozone?
I'd love to know. I don't. What I see is a very weak economy. Yesterday's numbers were very weak, and in a number of countries we are in a recession in Europe, and even Germany, who has had a pretty strong economy over the last couple of years, has experienced a significant slowdown lately. So I'm not very hopeful that we are on the verge of a pickup in Europe. I think economies like the French one and the Italian one, are still very close to a recession, if not in a recession. And I think the biggest problem that worries me the most in Europe is really that we are in a deflation or very close to deflation. There is very few companies have pricing power. Prices are declining pretty much on everything. And this is a very difficult and challenging situation, particularly where you have significant public debts to serve, and markets are increasingly worried that those debts cannot be served unless there is growth. And so I think the need for European countries to really kickstart growth is very urgent.
You spoke there about inflation, and that, of course, is something that is a concern for the European Central Bank. Do you think that the European Central Bank should step in more forcefully and do what is known as quantitative easing, i.e. buying government bonds?
I think they should. When you look at the experience in the US or in Japan and you look at the performance of their economies, definitely it works. Or in the UK, definitely it works. And I don't understand why we don't do it more courageously in Europe. I don't think it is so much a problem of the ECB. I think the ECB understands this and would like to do it. I think it's a question of mandate, and it's a political problem, and there are, as you know, resistances in Germany to allow the ECB to be more proactive and to have a more aggressive monetary policy. But I think it's certainly it would be more than welcome. Now, I think that's not enough. I don't think monetary policy can do it alone, but I think it's an important piece of the equation.
Rodolfo De Benedetti, chairman of CHEER, thank you very much indeed for speaking to France24.
Thank you for having
me. And thank
you
at home for watching. Do stay with us. We have more news coming your way.